Well, yesterday we told you about the head of Gallup polling group calling the 5.6 unemployment rate a, quote, big lie. Well, Gallup pointing out that while the number is the lowest since June of 2008, there are 30 million people who have either stopped looking for a job or who work only part-time or who take odd jobs here and there. And only 44% of Americans have a full-time job. Jim Clifton joined Bill Hemmer this morning and said that if he had a do-over, he would not use the term big lie and that he should have called the unemployment number misleading instead. But he made it very clear that the jobs picture in this country is really not good, and that a big part of it is the unfriendly climate for businesses and startups, which, go figure, create jobs.
America's not starting businesses anymore. It's a birth and death rate. We need about 500,000 new businesses to start while 400,000 die. 4 years ago, those lines crossed. So now we're in very dangerous waters. But those full-time unemployment jobs will never come back until free enterprise and the spirit of entrepreneurship kicks back in again.
That from the head of Gallup. But none of this has stopped the White House or the mainstream media from trumpeting the idea of a massive economic recovery. When the economy grew only 2.6%, the New York Times headline read, "Economy pulls ahead." And in the story, it called the U.S. economy a, quote, island of relative strength in a world facing, quote, renewed torpor and turmoil. Okay, so even though Clifton walking back the word lie, I still think there's been a lot of lying going on, Emac, especially from this administration. We heard it at the State of the Union. We heard it during campaign season. The economy is back. We got it back on track. That's a lie.
Well, yeah, it's totally whipping fastballs by the American people. What we're seeing now is the total unemployed, underemployed is about 11-12%. That's really bad. We have not seen, by the way, the recovery and the administration's handling is not so state-of-the-art. It's not a profile in courage when you flip the switch on $7 trillion in spending and you raise taxes like we haven't seen since the Hoover administration. We've got politicians fighting over tax hikes like, drunken Apple women. That's the only thing it really stimulates, right? And I think that JFK would not be welcome in the Democratic Party today. Watch this number. The total labor force is only up 2%, 140 million. That's since 2008, 2007. That is so bad, and we know median hourly income is down. So, by the way, small businesses, he's absolutely right. They report their income under the income tax, rates. So, and those rates have gone up for them, and they are really hurting right now.
Dr. Manny, I watched this interview this morning. I'm getting ready, and I kept hearing as I'm getting dressed the word from Clifton, misleading, this is misleading. All these things that they've been telling us about the economy and that jobs number, misleading.
Listen, I think the American public is petrified of losing their jobs. I mean, if I look at couples that come to see me sometimes, and you see the fear. It was a time when I was growing up in America that I had choices. Hey, do I want to do this and maybe do it for a couple of years because I know I'm going to find a job? There's no job opportunities in America anymore. So if you're a middle-aged 50-year-old guy, you are sticking to your guns. You're not letting go. And what we have is we have no hope in America today, and that has to do because there's no good economic policies, there's no jobs being created, there's gigantic unemployment out there, and this is the president that has increased taxes more than any president in the history of all the presidents combined. So where are we going? We have becoming a socialized state where we pay high taxes, we get subsidies from the government, but there's no growth, no opportunities, and the middle class is being destroyed.
Harris, what do you think about how the media has covered this story? Because I read some of the headlines, and even in this interview, Clifton saying the media is not asking the right questions.
Well, it's interesting because I think it's that social media backlash that he might be reacting to now.
I think so too.
Okay, and he can couch all he wants to couch, but this is interesting. For the first time in 35 years, American business deaths are now outnumbering business births. That's the thing that's important. Countries such as Hungary, Denmark, Finland, New Zealand, Sweden, Israel, and Italy all have higher startup rates than America does. So when you go out to find a job, if places are shuttering, it's going to be harder to do that. So Clifton can couch this thing, but if businesses are dying, the numbers really don't tell the whole story. And what he's feeling now is pressure from being a messenger, this lone messenger, if you will, with the truth. Welcome to Fox News.
Right.
That's what we do. Yeah. That's what we do.
That's right.
So we exactly know how he feels. But if it's misleading, then let's get the whole truth out there. He's got to be brave and get it out there.
And to our credit, I mean, Fox News Channel, FBN, we've been talking about this misleading unemployment number because of high underemployment, Julie, and the people who have given up looking for work. This is the real number we see right here, folks, 11.2%, according to Gallup. This is the number, Julie. So how does the administration get away with saying that things are great?
Well, I don't think anybody's saying things are great. I haven't heard anybody say that. I certainly don't think so. Look, the middle class has been dying in this country for decades, since the 80s.
The president opened the State of the Union, Julie.
He said things are getting better.
The football.
He said things are getting better, and they are getting better incrementally. They are by no means good, and anybody that looks the middle class in the eye and says life is good for you today would be laughed out of the room. And that is a fact for a Democrat, a Republican, or anybody else. Look, the middle class in this country is suffering tremendously, and they have been for 3 decades now.
But worse under President Obama.
Not
He's
at all.
Been in charge for the last 6 years.
Not at all worse under President Obama.
Joe Biden said it himself last week.
It's not worse.
He said they've been suffering the last 6 years.
If you look at of course they've been suffering the last 6 years. They've been suffering the last 30 years. You can't say they've been worse. They had the worst recession. He inherited the worst recession he possibly could. So of course it's going to take time to get out of it. But I agree with you. I don't think the policies on either side of the aisle have been even remotely aggressive enough to get the middle class back to where they need to go.